about your role. So now you're leading this team. There's lots of different things to talk about as your role changes. You become a manager, you become a manager. At some point, you're running a bunch of functions, many functions where you don't actually understand what they do. Lots of different things to talk about there. I picked one to talk about, which is how to be a bad manager. And I'll come back to why that implies something about being a good manager. I think there's 3 ways to be a bad manager. So one is the one that's most typically talked about as being a micromanager. That's a sort of easy example to understand. Is somebody comes to you with a problem and you take the problem from them and you solve it. And the downsides of that I think are well understood. I think another one is another pattern is what I call dictators. And you tend to see this a lot more in sales organizations. So the story I would tell is the sales leader is sitting down with their sales rep. And sales rep comes in and says, all right, I had a $10 million quota this quarter, but I just wanted to let you know, I had 2 major customers in that quota, and one of them, the company went bankrupt, and the other one, the head of the company passed away, and I just wanted to let you know. And the sales manager sits there and says, I kind of blanked out for a second, and I may not have heard everything, but are you still bringing me $10 million this quarter or not? And that's sort of the spirit of those types of leaders. There's a third one. I call these the Over Empathizers. And this person is slightly different than either of those. So that person, employee brings a problem, and manager sits, listens very carefully, doesn't take the problem from them, but spends all their energy trying to debug the problem with them. Says, oh, tell me more about it. What's the, is it, maybe it's because of this, maybe it's because of that, and so on. And that may seem like a really good thing to do, but one of the implications of that is now you've taken the responsibility off of that person and onto yourself. And the main lesson of this is I think everybody has their natural tendency, and you probably all know where your natural tendency is. Mine, by the way, is at the top. And any team I work with, I make sure they know that. That's where I end up in if pushed. And I think being a good manager is actually not about not being any one of these things. It's about being able to be these things when you need to be. And sometimes the right thing to do is to be a dictator. Sometimes the right thing to do is be a micromanager. Sometimes the right thing to do is empathize. But understanding which one you naturally are and stretching yourself into the other ones is really important. And and one way to think about it is the goal of the manager is set inspiring goals, coach when needed, and hold people accountable. And those can often be at odds with each other.